Pro going to be taking on the former TI4 champions in Team Newbee. Of course, they got an adjusted roster, but bringing the excellent coverage, it's going to be myself, Kyle Guy. I'm not going at it alone. Right by my side here in the small, quaint, but very romantic booth, I've got Purge with me. Purge, how you feeling today?
I am super excited, man. These two teams are going to be very good. Virtus Pro, one of the most active teams in the game. I dare say they have some of the best players in the game right now. G, I think, is very, very well respected in Europe. Definitely top 3 there. And Newbee, man, they won TI last year. It's a slightly different roster, but they have 3 out of their 5, I believe. Mu Banana and Sun Sheng are all from last year. Rabbit was a new addition, one of the highest traded for dollar value players.
Oh, yeah.
And June as well, very, very solid. So excited to see how they perform, especially because some people were a little unsure if they should get invited. They were, out of all the teams that were ranked, they were below the typical threshold. So this does seem a bit like a precedent. Invite the previous TI winners, and we'll see how they match up today against VP.
This is probably the team that most people may not admit it, but they're very curious about. Just because ever since their glory days of TI4, and you gotta remember that team started in the group stage very poorly. They like barely etched it out, made their way through that group stage, and then it just is like, hey, by the way, we know how the meta works right now. Welcome to Deathball Dota, and they just rolled over their opponents all the way through, facing off Vici Gaming there in the grand final. And as you said, they have changed up the roster a bit. You know, Rabbit, his team at the time, it almost was as if he put the team on his back and made that strong performance, strong case for himself. Newbee were like, we know Zhao Wei's stepping off. We need to fill these spots. They saw something in Rabbit. They got him in. Since TI4, though, it's been a bit hit or miss. Not going to lie there, Purge. They've placed 4th in Mars TV China Qualifier, 4th in I-League. They did get 1st in the World Cyber Arena games, the WCA, and then 4th again in World Esports Championships. So,
did they even place at DAC?
And then DAC, I don't think they even placed. It was rough. So that was during the time where people were like, apparently they're playing RPGs and not really playing Dota.
Yeah, I've heard a couple people say that actually.
You know, so maybe they're getting too comfortable. So
once you win that much money, you're like, oh, I'm set for life.
Yeah.
And then you go do the relaxation that you wanted to do the previous year, but instead you played Dota, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I should probably start practicing again. I mean, time and time again, the teams that win TI are the ones that not only are very talented players, but they also grind like crazy.
Yeah.
They don't have a life outside of what they've been doing. So I think that's one of the reasons the Korean teams have been doing so well lately. They just sit there and grind for like a year straight. Other distractions, and bam, that puts them here. But
can you believe it? 2 Korean teams now in?
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
So they've done really well.
What a first team to face, though, for Newbee. It's like, hi, welcome back to real competitive Dota. You got to go against Virtus Pro. You're talking about teams that grind it out. They have grinded out games. You know, their ESL Frankfurt performance. We've seen them around ES Portal, Dream League. This team is notorious for bringing the most kills on average. G in particular, the #1 most kills. He averages 9 per game. They love to draw blood. Very appropriate that they've picked up the Bloodseeker already for themselves, but Newbee, I hope they're not coming in too relaxed, too calm, because they could get stomped here.
Yeah. Now, Bloodseeker is a hero that, coming into TI, everybody said, 3 most OP pub heroes. Bloodseeker, Leshrac, who am I missing? People say Tusk, things like that, but really the 2 big pub ones are Bloodseeker, Lesh. And the first couple games, not only of the wild card, but also of today, didn't see any Bloodseeker. And if he was banned, it was later. But all of a sudden, halfway through the day, people are like, yeah, we should pick Bloodseeker. Like, why haven't we been picking Bloodseeker? And all of a sudden, Bloodseeker has just been stomping games. Fnatic stomped the hell out of Secret with a Bloodseeker in 1 game. Was amazing. And now we're seeing it first round, finally getting the love that it deserves. And it's a hero that's like, it's very obvious. Okay, he attacks, does a lot of damage. Yeah. He runs super fast, Rupture, just TP away, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is that even if you know what he's going to do, he's still going to 3-shot your supports at 8 minutes. And that's no other hero does that. Not even close. Has that much mobility and that much right-click damage. Even if you stun him twice, oftentimes he still kills one of your guys. So
he's so freaking deceptive, too. Like, if you're playing as an off-laner, let's say I've been put in the position, I like to play my Earth Spirit, you know, in the off-lane, and I'm stuck in a, yeah, right? And I'm stuck against a Bloodseeker, and you think everything is fine, and then you don't really notice, but you're the other side of the world, your safe lane, not going so well, they're getting beat down, they have no life, and then the Bloodseeker just gets ramped up with all this energy, speed, and damage, and then he just takes advantage of that and jumps onto you. And that's when you really count on your whole team being in sync. That counts on the communication, like, hey, we're running low on life. You know, get yourself healed up right away. We can't allow this Bloodseeker to be a problem. And after you're starting to chunk down your heroes and your supports, like you said, he's chunking down your towers real fast. And look what they put on top of it. They get a Shadow Shaman now. This could feel like a hefty kind of siege lineup here from Virtus Pro. Don't want to say Deathball-like, but it seems like they're going to be very objective-based. And, okay, we got a debut on our hands. The Treant Protector showing his big green face here for Virtus Pro.
I like the pick. I mean, Newbee has responded to the good Bloodseeker support counter, in my opinion, which is Dazzle. Not only does it save people, they can TP out, but also you keep everybody's HP pretty high with Shadow Wave, and you can also do minus armor against Bloodseeker, which is the best counter, in my opinion, or plus armor to your team. So that's cool. But now that with the Treant in the game, Bloodseeker's got damage block on top of that, so he's even harder to kill. And that also synergizes well with Gyrocopter. Same kind of thing. Two heroes that are... Their weakness, in my opinion, is physical damage. So I think Treant's a pretty cool pick here. He can scout out rotations, get some vision stuff, keep people from moving, which is going to be great synergy with Bloodseeker's Bloodright, because Overgrowth stops Quap from blinking. If you can combo those two together and then land up to a 6-second silence on heroes like Dazzler or Quap, that team fight's over. You win it. Man. The only thing that's going to save you at that point is either Yule Scepters for Quap or Dazzle, or if Tusk is able to protect a lot of heroes by bringing them into his snowball during the activation. So that's a combo that I've never personally seen before, and I love the synergy right off the bat. Covers it on multiple levels with Leech Seed, Living Armor, as well as the Overgrowth. So that's cool. And it'll scout ganks too. That's great.
It's good. It makes me feel like Virtus Pro are not afraid to step outside the box of already what we've been seeing this tournament. Gyrocopters and Leshes and Queen of Pains. Yeah, you know, we see these all the time, but it feels like when the draft moves forward, they're not afraid to pull something out of that back pocket, which they feel personally suits the needs of either their own personal team lineup or even going against their opponents here. Because as you said, it works in both cases beautifully. Being able to fight around your call down and around your wards, Tree forces that. Razor one to take objectives and siege on forward. He's there to defend those towers and keep them standing strong. So.
Yeah, and their tower push is a little weak. Right now, it's pretty much just Razor up in the front, hitting the buildings. Dazzle's going to heal him. Tusk could potentially initiate, but no one else is going to be really safe to do that. I love the Darkseer ban. I got wrecked in a pub versus the Bloodseeker because there was a Darkseer. Because my carry was always at 40% HP, and I was just roaming around in Skywrath, and all of a sudden, bam, 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 dead. Couldn't do anything. I was like, he's level 2. He's like level 3. What is going on? And it's just because Ion Shell keeps everybody's HP so low. Yeah. And even the Ion Shell and Bloodseeker is a cool combo. So.
It's just so good against those like melee cores that are just trying to farm in lane. You're like, I want to hit this creep, but I want to get hit 7 times from 2 Ion Shells while I'm going in to do it. So it's just a very annoying offlaner to have to deal with, so they rid of that one. So what do Virtus Pro considering go for here? They got to fill that offlane spot. They are a team that's not afraid to pull out the DK Phobos Centaur from time to time if you feel maybe that, you know, is necessary. We also got your classics that are still available in the pool. You got your Bristleback, it looks like here.
I don't know if Centaur is the hero versus Dazzle personally, because Centaur operates by bursting people down. Dazzle Grave, so they opt for a Tide Hunter instead. I actually like this a lot. We talked about the front line of Noob. It's basically just Razor, so that means if Tide gets a Ravage, it catches like Dazzle, Lion, and Queen of Pain. They can very easily follow up. Like if Treant gets a Blink as well, or is in position, and you do Ravage into Treant ult, fight's over. VP just wins it because they're going to have Call Down and Bloodright. Their AoE is really cool here, and I like how they drafted the Bloodseeker. It's like a slightly different combo and a slightly different strat than we normally see out of him, and we'll see if Newbees can be able to react to it appropriately.
All right, big stuff here. Remember, folks, for group stage action, these are all going to be best of 2s. If either team's able to walk away from this 2-game series with 2 wins, they earn 3 points. If they split the games 1-1, each team will just earn 1 point here. And being able to walk away from a couple of series with 3 points definitely gets you solid in a top-seeded spot. I know LGD currently has won both of their series 2-0. They have the top spot at 6 points. But for these two teams, this is their debut, and they'd love to start off with a good couple of wins. And, well, we already talked a bit about the backstories here. What are we going to be seeing from Newbee? Have they shaped up their game since TI4? Are they going to be a bit out of the loop a bit as far as what kind of works for Dota? And for Virtus Pro, this is a team that tends to be the bridesmaid pretty often. Never really gets to be the bride, and they want to make a strong case for themselves here with their very raw, aggressive behavior. Both teams start out, they kind of Scavenge the lands here. Newbee more defensive positioning here, but if you look over Virtus Pro, they are just eyeballing this mid lane from the high ground, creating that trap. And poor little June is going to walk right in front of it, and he gets caught up with the shackles. There's a rocket barrage waiting for him, and that had to be the swiftest, cleanest first blood I've seen in quite a while.
So smart.
Goes right to Virtus Pro.
So the Tidehunter spotted them all in the jungle, so they knew that eventually they were going to shift over to the top lane, so they just waited for them. It might see DK Phobos die in the bot lane. He salves up. That's going to keep him alive. Just barely, completely worth it there for him. Unless he gets hit here. The Photon Rabbit. Oh, he grabs it. And that was a full static link. 56 damage with the level 1. I'm amazed he got the full charge there, and that was him fighting for the rune. So that was, who got the bounty? Tidehunter did. He got the bounty, but he sacrificed first blood. That's not the trade that you can make, especially when the Razor goes boots first, because now he's going to be able to get easy regen.
Yeah. Overall, who was the first blood?
It was definitely Shadow Shaman. Definitely died. Or the Tusk, I'm sorry. Tusk got killed by Treant.
Yeah, and FNG picked it up. So you can make the argument, of course, a slight nod for Virtus Pro being able to get that first blood bounty. But yeah, it doesn't certainly help. Tidehunter getting brought down. He loses that salve. It looks like he's doubled up on the tangos now, and he's going to get just bullied back in this lane. Rabbit's just going to literally whip him into place, so he can't get too close. And this is very difficult. We don't get to see Tidehunter very often. He does have the luxury of being able to fall back on multiple options. If the lane phase doesn't work out, he can always build up those ancient stacks and go for it. But this is something we were used to seeing for a good chunk of the Dota season, it feels like, having your Tidehunters and your Centaurs in play. Bat Rider when he was in his heyday for a while there, but it just feels like it's going to be a difficult time here for DK Phobos. He's just going to have to wait it out until he gets a little bit of that me time to farm into the, illustrious dagger one day.
Yeah, the lane is pushing in against his favor, so it's going to be hard for him to get experience, and at some point, the line can just pull or go do whatever he wants, because I feel like the Razor can very easily outlane a melee hero like Tide. Like, he's got damage block, but when your Razor is hitting for 100, that 8 seems like nothing. It's a very small percentage. The first blood that FNG on the other side of the map got, the Treant Protector here, helped a lot because he's able to buy a fast Orb of Venom, and with his 85 base damage, he can very easily zone the Tusk, even without mana. So both teams having some good advantage against their enemy offlane heroes. So, it's pretty even at this point.
Tree hits so freaking hard, too. It can be very deceptive. And like you said, with the Orb of Venom, he's going to get an extra couple of shots in there. And heaven forbid, you get caught out position like this. Illidan looking to move on in here. They're going to pincer June. With the help of that haste, Lil is going to cut him off. Okay. Snowball is going to move forward, and they're going to just ball him on up. Lil gets the shackle connection, and June just really has nowhere to run. He's taken into a dark alley, gets shot apart, taken apart, and I'm pretty sure his wallet was grabbed right there as well. So we'll look into that. But Illidan heads back to lane. He's flipping around, happy as ever, as Virtus Pro pull ahead now 2-1.
So looking pretty good for VP with that double kill, or that second kill, that is. Phase boots up on Gyrocopter. If we look at the CS so far, it's looking really good for VP, actually. Bloodseeker far ahead of the Queen of Pain. But that's not too surprising, because with this Blood Rage, you increase your damage by 25, and you get the Quelling Blade hit.
You're healing up.
Yeah, you're healing up. So the typical dagger harass that Queen of Pain has isn't really going to do a whole lot. And he's not even casting it on him, because he's like, well, I could dagger him, but every time he kills a creep, he heals for like 50 HP, and I absolutely can't stop him from last hitting. G, one of the best European players, I can bet you that he knows how to last hit, and evenly. Look, he got 75 from a range creep off that heal. Like, that's the dagger damage after the full reduction, pretty much. So, man, it's tough here for Queen of Pain to get last hits.
So what do you do if you're Newbee then? Do you consider getting some help from a local support to come in and maybe make a jump on the G? Do you decide to take your Queen of Pain down a different path? Obviously maybe not considering the level too much into your Shadow Strike instead. How do you adjust a bit going against this very tough Bloodseeker mid lane?
I mean, they could gank him, but it's pretty difficult. They would basically need 3 heroes. I don't think they can do it with 2, especially if one of them is Dazzle. I mean, Lion's picking up 3 here. I think they're going to smoke. Look at Bananas hanging out in the area. Sansheng's going to finish off this creep. He's going to pop smoke. The Tide actually might break this. They spot him. Okay, they didn't use the smoke, but I'm pretty sure they're going to go smoke there, because if they get 2 to 3 heroes right on top of Bloodseeker with Shadow Wave, he will die.
Yeah, Tide's like that angry camp counselor. What are you kids doing over there? I'm just trying to smoke up over here, buddy. Leave us alone. Luckily for them, though, they got an Invis rune instead. Banana going to hold guard for now. Phobos is trying to pose a threat. That means Sansheng's going to sneak in and grab it. Without a doubt, Virtus Pro knows something is up. Look for them to go in more of a defense position.
That was great. Honestly, him being there was super huge, because the supports at this point would have already been towards the mid lane and setting up the kill on the Bloodseeker. So he opted to sacrifice his experience gain, which is already far above where it should be at level 3, so that he knew where the supports were. And because they knew where the supports were, that gives G a better chance of living. But they're setting up mid on him, so this is looking a little dangerous for him.
Now look who's also smoked in nearby. It actually ended up popping. They don't know it yet because it was the Invis rune, but they're making a go on the move. They lay out the first rupture, does the long hop. There's a snowball, brief save, but it's not enough. They're going to quickly burst down the Queen of Pain. Now they're going to get the shackles. Beautiful catch from Sansheng onto 2 with his impale. Can they get Lil in return? They can. FNG, though, already hightailing it out of there. They're not going to be able to stop him. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. An advantage for Virtus Pro, taking down the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, completely worth it. So that doesn't happen that often when both teams are ganking at the exact same time, but the initiation was a bit better there for VP. Rupture on top of a Queen of Pain is one of the best counters because she's not able to blink far enough to stop the blink from not triggering damage. Did I say that right? Not sure. But
I got what you mean.
It's very, very good against Queen of Pain, and at that point, what can she do? Throw some damage out?
Oh, Phobos getting a lot of hate here on the bottom, but not enough to go down. Still a bit heartbreaking here for Newbee. That was Queen of Pain's return, and they were hoping to get some blood there.
I don't understand why he... Oh, I guess he doesn't feel safe in the off lane. Or in the mid, sorry, which feels like an offlane because it's against a Bloodseeker.
Yeah.
Razor can actually deal with Bloodseeker pretty well. Sap his damage, then he can't get last hits. But level 1, like 1v1, you don't really want to put a Razor versus a Bloodseeker, but maybe it would have been better. It's hard to say, but now he needs levels.
They got June. Easy setup right there. Lil just easily waltzes on in, catches Tusk a bit out of position, leads in with an Ether Shock, follow-up Shackle, and of course Gyro happens to be level 6. He just gets the easy call down, and that's going to be Tusk hitting the deck.
G's almost got a Midas at 6 minutes.
Mid lane. Man.
From the mid lane. 1 kill, 1 assist, 37 CS at 6 minutes, and now he jungles. And this gives him a lot of benefit. Look who's mid. Treant Protector. He says, oh, I did a little bit of sacrifice on the offlaner. Now I'm just going to sit mid and I'm going to EXP. And it's a Razor too. No chance he dies of that. If it was a Quap, maybe. So this lane rotation that originally was beneficial for Newbee, it doesn't matter anymore because G's just killing all these stacks in the jungle and farming very fast, and he's going to power level. Every time he's got mana, pops out a lane, rupture, somebody goes back to farming. Same thing. Rinse, repeat. And Treant Protector is going to get a fast level 6 because of this, which again is going to synergize. So I think VP is in a huge advantage right now. Just looking at their CS alone, like the 3rd highest CS on the rating team, 9.
Ugh. The gap is ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's looking really good. And Tide is level 4, so his EXP is good, not as amazing as it was before, but I think this is looking a lot better for VP in my opinion.
Newbee, it is feeling like they need to turn things around here, and they're looking to go for a purge. They're investigating where the hell G is, and they're going right for the jungle here with the smoke. It's going to pop. Once they see he's not there, they're going to turn the corner. They know he's right here. They better have the skills ready to go.
He jukes properly.
Nope, not going to happen. They catch him with the stun. This is going to be a full duration static link, and they should be able to whip him down. Tries to dish out the blood right, but will not make it away. Catches onto all 3. Lil, maybe they can get a straggler here. Look at Illidan show up. Big pull down, gonna be able to connect onto the 2. FNG interjects from the mid lane. They get the Tusk. With that, they look to turn back. They're also gonna get the catch here onto Rabbit. Rabbit looking to man mode here, and he gets the kill, taking down Shadow Shaman. Gets a grave, TP's out, and he is long gone. This turns into a worthy trade for Newbee as they will make it out of the jungle.
I thought that was going to go way worse. That was well done by them, though. There wasn't much they could do with a grave. TP on the Razor was really well planned there. And awesome read by them as well. They said, oh, Bloodseeker's disappeared. Obviously jungling. Do a quick smoke gank. We'll find him. Even though it was nighttime, they were able to pick up the kill and snag the kill on the Bloodseeker. That will slightly slow down their speed. And, you know, just benefits all their other lanes as well. Only losing 1 there.
Wonderful return for Newbee. Something they certainly did need. He was getting a bit out of control onto his Bloodseeker here, and before that action broke out, we were talking about FNG getting this bit of solo farm here. Has yet to pick anything up in addition to his Orb of Venom here. Does have boots and there's some wards, but bottom lane, yeah, they're making it go onto June. June gonna get caught out, taken apart here. They also made the advancement onto Moo, but Moo didn't make it away.
Yeah, he made the good blink. You have to blink and then move a bit after, and some pro players will make that mistake. So if he would have messed that up, he would have been at 10% HP. They would have dived him. So he did that appropriately.
Real hard game though for this Tusk. June is 0-5 already on what was supposed to be an off-lane core kind of Tusk setup. So it's a rough time. It's going to take a while for this Tusk to be able to be the bruiser in the similar sense that this Tidehunter is. We touched base for DK Phobos for comparison. He is level 6, and he is going to get tickled here from a little Shadow Strike, but he gets the quick help from FNG, and Moo's going to have to pull on back here. So still in a very, very strong start here for Virtus Pro as they continue to farm up. They're not making stacks for a little Tidehunter. G's kind of working with those for now. So I'm very curious how Virtus Pro are going to decide to just split up the farm here. It seems like they're just putting heavy emphasis while they can onto their two cores, the big gyro and, of course, the Bloodseeker.
And I feel like the supports as well, they've gotten so many lanes to farm here. Like, it's a little bit different than your typical Bloodseeker, but I think it's totally the right way to play him. Like, Illidan's got tons of farm, 64 CS and 2 kills. G is just farming jungle. DK Phobos, the Tidehunter, is farming jungle now that he's 6, and he's got 3 levels in Kraken Shell. He basically takes no damage from creeps ever. So he basically just farms. Unless there's a fight, he just farms until it's all good to go. And look at this. And G's even helping him out. He's like, oh, here, I'll just give you Blood Rage. That's actually a cool combo. Blood Rage with Anchor Smash. Buff up the damage, buff up the Ravage damage a little bit, and if he ever is low on HP, just heal him up. It's so cool. It's so efficient. 0 mana to cast Blood Rage. And I think VP is just playing the Bloodseeker strat perfectly this game.
I mean, we saw teams, I want to say in the past, even consider having that Bloodseeker in more of a forward position just to ambush. But yeah, they're coming in from the north. They're going to get catch on Lil, lead in with the stun. He gets a little bit of help here from the tree, but it's not going to be enough. He does end up going down. Rabbit gets punished quite a bit for it, is on the way out. And of course, because of his lower life, G just shows up. He's got the speed, he's got the attack damage, but no return kill here. So Newbee, this is back-to-back solid picks for them, trying to inch themselves back into the game.
All right, and what does Bloodseeker make next? I think it's a BKB game, I'm assuming. If he gets fast this game and just pops BKB, he kills Line or Dazzle, or at least forces a Grave out on those support heals instead of the core. So I think he's got a pretty obvious item build here, so I don't think we need to consider that much. Same thing for Gyro. BKB is definitely the item against Tusk and Line, and even Quappa a little bit, even though our ultimate goes through Magic Community. So I think they just sit and farm, get their supports leveled up a bit, and then they can really start making action happen. The Shadow Shaman and the Tree are now a bit under leveled. They didn't get quite as much as I thought they would in the early game, because they had to rotate. But even with that said, FNG's got 2 kills here, so his GPM has got to be a bit higher than it normally is.
FNG, you got to remember a while back, he was one of the first to really dive into the core Treant Protector and went right for the Ags early with its new Eyes in the Forest benefit. So he'll know how to build up the farm if necessary. I mean, is it a kind of a game where you even want to consider a late Midas pickup on a tree just to play that kind of catch-up game, or is it just more valuable getting your traditional support tools, being there at the ready, having your living armor utilized for just your allies when necessary and your towers, just be more of your strong rock for the team?
I feel like this is just a great blink game for Treant because of all the synergy they have, honestly, with the Ravage. Because if Tree's going to blink, or sorry, if Tide's going to blink Ravage, get that follow-up, you know? If they're all not moving, get the follow-up. Don't let him move for an extra 4 seconds after that.
That's when a gyro could fly in with a huge call down.
Yeah, and if that second missile hits, that's 50% slow. After, like, their teamfight synergy is just so good. I feel like if they get a blink and they initiate properly on their opponents, they just win. So I don't know. We'll see. Sentry Ward going to D-Ward here for the Treant Protector. They do actually see a ward, and oh yeah, the Tango use. I forgot about that. Don't need quelling anymore. You just need a Tango to kill those high ground wards.
Beautiful for those melee supports like your Tree, who just are like, guys, I need some assistance here on getting this high ground, please.
He's got level 1 Invis, no level 6 yet for him. Oh, they put the Invis on Tidehunter. Tidehunter
here it comes. Ravage. Here it comes. He's got it. Big old Ravage with a call down combo. Right on top of their heads. Moo is going to get saved with the shallow grave, but is it going to be enough to hold out here? Your first drop is going to be Lion. Moo still holding strong. Ravage soaking in huge amounts of damage. Does manage to keep Virtus Pro whipped back and at bay here, and that was a beautiful lead and start from Virtus Pro, and they're not going to be able to follow up with much bloodshed purge. In fact, they stand strong, and they're going to go right for this tier 1, but not G. He's inching on forward, gets off the blood right. They're able to sidestep it very easily. Oh man, Snowball, they're going to get G. He goes down, double kill for Moo, and they want more blood. They're moving forward. They think about making it go into Illidan. The static link not going to connect very long, and they're diving past tier 2 for this. FNG waiting in the wings here. He is invis, stalking about. Oh, what a stop! You're not going anywhere. Dishes out the ultimate just so that Rabbit couldn't TP away so easily.
Yeah, so that hurts him from farming a little bit. He could have immediately gone top and started pushing that creep wave, setting up for his his team's next fight, or just getting a lot of farm. And instead, he wastes about 30-40 seconds and a TP. So in a way, we saw damage being done with that overgrowth. It's really too bad for VP that he didn't have that in the next fight, because Newbee really did have the teamfight advantage there. They had that mech, and it kept the first person alive. He kept his HP high enough, the Grave came through, and nobody died, and because of that, they weren't able to just slap through every single hero. And Bloodseeker actually going SNY first here. I assume he's going to complete the full SNY, because he opted for a Yasha first, not going for the BKB. So the fight almost went perfect for VP. If they would have gotten kills there, I think they would have ran away with the whole game. But because of that great defense from Newbee,
yeah,
they're keeping it going. It's an equal.
They got the mech and they're like, it's time to play. We don't care about your team fight. We know your cooldowns are down now. We're gonna go right at you. They roll on forward here. They're looking to go for Lil. They took a big damage. Sanching very low, still alive. Now they turn it back. FNG gonna get caught out briefly. Lil up in arms with Moo. They're able to finish up G. He goes down. FNG thereafter. Rabbit barely alive, gonna be able to go down. Actually, Illidan cleans him up. Triple kill, ultra kill for Illidan, the gyrocopter. Jeez. Just sweeps in there at the end like the janitor and cleans up the mess. 4 go down from the side of Newbee. Virtus Pro lose 3. It's a bloodbath there. And very surprising from Virtus Pro, considering they committed those ultimates just previously. They had enough ammunition to just bring it right back to Newbee and break through that mech.
Yeah, that was such a close fight. I mean, I think the Quap got more out of his hero than he should have, because we saw G actually cast Blood Rage on him, which meant that every time that he got a kill, he healed. So he healed from killing the Bloodseeker, and then afterwards he healed from killing the Shadow Shaman, which otherwise would have been him dying. So I think G made a pretty big mistake there. It should have been a Blood Rage on himself instead of on his target, because he was probably going to die, so Quap killing him would have only healed him once, whereas the buff stayed on and they got the second heal. So even Lil didn't get value out of his death. So it could have been a 5-0. Luckily, Illidan played really well on the other side of the team fight and cleaned up really hard. And look at this, another Sanj and Yasha. They don't care about BKBs this game, and I'm not quite sure why, but hopefully it works out for them.
They want blood, man. This is the team who's notoriously known for putting together some of the biggest bounties in the game and the most bloodshed. And they're putting together the weapons for it. Not looking to go very defensive on this one, unlike Newbee, who are playing it a bit on the other side. Well, as they go for this tier 1, we saw Roche go down. Illidan charges in. Call down does catch the backliners. Rabbit and June. And he's going to keep himself back. So the fight's being split apart. Moo jumps in. They get down. G with a beautiful finger and the Sonic Wave combo. Moo getting kept alive with a beautiful shallow grave and getting healed up here. Man, overtime coming out for Banana as a support, I tell you what. But 3 go down from Virtus Pro. It looks like Illidan could be next. Will be next. That's your Aegis. Newbee, man, they came to play. They didn't care about the raw aggression of Virtus Pro. This could be the second death of Illidan. Looks like it will be. Long static link, snowball forward, and an uppercut on the butt. And he just crumbles down into recycled pieces there. Virtus Pro lose 4 Purge. Newbee don't lose anyone, and they got the tier 1. It almost looks like the Newbee of old here. They got their mech, and they're like, it's time to roll as a group, and let's start getting objectives done.
They're getting so much value out of their supports, too. Like, that last fight, Lion just sat on the high ground, kept stunning heroes. He only had brown boots there, and he was being such a huge impact. He just stunned and ultied the Bloodseeker, put Bloodseeker's HP really low. I really feel like G made a mistake with his itemization here. It had to be a BKB, because it's a Lion, you know, and it's a Quap. Like, yeah, Quap's still going to ulti you, but you've got about 1200 HP, and it stops the snowball. And, like, they have 3 heroes that basically have high magic bursts, and if he just got a BKB, he wouldn't have to worry about those disables. He could just run after them and force the Graves on those heroes. Instead, they get to save the Graves for the heroes like Quap or for Razor when things get a little messy, but instead he could be picking off supports or wasting the Grave, and then Dazzle becomes a bad hero. If Dazzle has to Grave the Lion or something, like, it's not worth it. So I think his itemization was just wrong here. He still wouldn't have had BKB maybe, but if he skipped Midas and he skipped his Yasha, easily BKB. But then you might run into other problems if your team fights go bad, then your items are weak, so it's hard to say. It's easy to say hindsight, but it's putting him in a really bad spot now. He really needs a Black King bar this game.
Banana put in so much work. Because that Dazzle didn't have to look out for his fellow Sanchink support, he was there and ready, got the good Grave on the Moo, good couple of heals. Your Queen of Pain was able to stay alive and live through the burst. I mean, I understand G's trying to put together as much damage as possible with his SNY build-up here, but it wasn't clearly enough to break through the support staff of Newbee. And they're still on the prowl here, Purge. They smoke up, and they are going right into the heart of Virtus Pro.
VP saw it, though. They had a ward in the area. So look at all the pings. Oh, they know what's going on. They know where the fight's going to be.
If the second of smoke pops, they might just go right in for it.
It's tough, though. They're going up high ground. He doesn't have Blink. He doesn't have mech either. They get revealed. They know where
They know where each other are.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Newbee has the better position.
Oh, it's going to be good Ravage.
Beautiful setup with the Ravage because of the invis from FNG. It does connect, but look at the turnaround. Dazzle goes down immediately. G is right for June. He should be able to pick him off. Wards are going to be committed, but maybe a bit unnecessary. Rabbit on the run here with Moo, the lone survivors, the 2 cores.
Wow.
Virtus Pro, big fight for them. And considering they were in a bit of an awkward position, they certainly made it work. Newbee not having a sentry nearby allowed FNG to just get them in Viz and walk up.
Oh, man. They pinged it as well. Look, they did have a sentry down, and Dazzle had one more in his inventory, but they thought for sure that they were going to come from the right side.
Oh.
And if he would have put that down on that hill, they would have won that fight 100%, because they just would have blown up that Tidehunter, probably with a finger, a scream, and maybe a lion stun. It's bam, Tidehunter dies, fight goes completely different, but instead, boom, 5-man Ravage into call down, into killing the Dazzle before anybody gets graved, and it completely changes that team fight. Very, very small mistake from the support player, but it completely changed the entire game. All you do is drop 1 cent.
One of those things they're going to look back at the replay and be like,
ooh. They're going to be like, Banana, what the heck were you doing, dude? Obvious.
Oh, man. Newbee have not pulled away from this death ball purge. Since they got the mech, they're like, we're just going to keep fighting. Jude goes right in for the money, and he is killed immediately. Moo commits thereafter. They get the overgrowth onto him. He's forced to retreat, and now comes G. Look at this little guy. He is running like a freak, looking to get in there and fight. But he can't get overzealous at this point. Rabbit's already on the retreat, though. They see this. They're going to look to get anyone they can, and it's a little Banana. He's just trying to split Purge, but he can't make it out. Oh, he's getting manhandled here. Making him sweat for it. He's got the grave, but ultimately he will go down. Who's going to pick it up, though? It's going to be Illidan. But I don't know. Is it getting at the point already, Newbee? They got the mech, and they're like, it's time to go, boys. But how many times do you take your team and go before you're just crashing into a brick wall over and over again?
That was just a really bad team fight. I have no idea why Tusk snowballed in there. His team wasn't really in position. Maybe it was just a misread, like he thought, oh, it's time to go. This is an opportunity. But his team wasn't ready. Maybe he didn't look at the map first. I'm not sure. I think that was just genuinely a terrible snowball initiation. He just died immediately afterwards. On the bright side, G got scared, and he didn't rupture the quap or use rupture at all. And I think he really should have. He could have caught a core in addition to that. So luckily they didn't completely profit from that, but that was a little too... That was super YOLO. Mech's up on Tide, though. Doesn't have Blink yet, but again, the Invis is really doing work here. And nothing out of FNG either. He's just getting levels and support items. So
some of the most smokes I've seen in one game already here. Yeah. They just go right back and forth for it. Now it's Virtus Pro. They use their smoke to go all the way up to the northern hemisphere, I guess I'd say, of the Dota 2 map. There's pressure on potentially this tier 1 tower. It looks like finally Newbee are like, let's put our attention elsewhere outside of this mid lane, and let's start heading top and see if we can just kind of get some extra economy for our team. But Virtus Pro are going to be there waiting in the wings, ready to go, Purge. We got a Ravage ready. Lil's got the wards ready. Illidan looking to cut him off. Call down. They're going to go right under Rabbit, right under the crosshairs of that ultimate. And beautifully trapped from the wards of Lil. He is in huge trouble. Look at way back lines here. Phobos trying to catch the rest with his Ravage. Now they do finish off Rabbit. Beautiful Sonic Wave is going to get the finish onto your Tidehunter. He might be going down next, though. Here comes G looking to clean house. He gets one. He's looking to go for next. They see him. Move. Oh, no Hex from Lil. Able to make it away. Banana, not going to be so lucky. This is just a chomping here. Gets the shallow grave off. But ultimately, he is going to be brought down once more. Will be a 3-for-1 trade advantage for Virtus Pro. Newbee, again, just trying to move across the map, try to get an objective in the top lane, but Virtus Pro seemed to be one step ahead. They were already smoked and in good position for defense.
Yeah, DK Bobos played that fight fantastic. The Tidehunter there, I don't know if you caught it or not, but he was the one that found the Dazzle originally, and all you got to do is zone out the support Dazzle. If you keep him out of grave range, it's big, it's 1,000, but if you keep him out of range, then Razor dies, and Razor thought that his team would be able to back him up, but the Dazzle, all he could do is retreat because he couldn't really deal with the Tidehunter. He would have gotten Gush, Anchor Smash, and at that point, all it takes is like a Shadow Shaman or Bloodseeker, and he dies. So he zoned them out. He basically ravaged 3 heroes on the other side. He split that team fight in 2, and even though he did get bursted down at the end, that was exactly what they needed to win that fight. Keep the Dazzle away from the grave, and if the grave doesn't happen, easy fight.
Moo's still playing a pretty stellar game, I have to say, for Newbee. He is Queen of Pain. 8-1-2, been dishing out, being able to slip away in some of these crazy fights without being brought down and risk handing over that bit of a pretty penny of a bounty. Now Illidan is kind of showing himself in the bottom half of this river. There is a couple of Newbee nearby ready to pounce, but he's not going to look to go at it alone here. A lot of tension near this Roche pit, but
the cores on Newbee get out of so many deaths that they should have. Yeah, like you said. Like, look at Razor as well. 5-2 and 7. That was his second death just now. Like, their cores just know their limits entirely. It's amazing, and the supports are doing a good job keeping them alive. But Moo as well. I've seen him almost die like 6 times. He's only died once. Like, what the heck?
He finds those little like blink pockets to hide into and TP out before teams can really quickly realize it. And it's difficult, you know, Shadow Shaman typically expends both of his disables in the heat of the fight, and there's not much left from everyone else to stop those TPs. So it just comes down to them being able to slip away if they're going to make it out from the initial burst power that Virtus Pro have. But well, we're getting to go into the meat of the game here, Perch. 25 minutes into the mid-game. Do we still hold a pretty strong advantage for Virtus Pro? Because we got to start considering their segue into the later game. Is there more of a clock onto Newbee to get this game over with than Virtus Pro?
I think so, because their carry is a Razor. Razor is somewhere between, he's a carry, but he's not a super hard carry. And if we look at the items he went, BKB Mech, he hasn't bought any major DPS items. Obviously, he does damage just by being alive, which is what BKB and Mech do, but he doesn't have your Ag Scepter, he doesn't have an AC. Those are items that end up scaling better. The items he bought now scale actually very poorly as the game continues. They're basically like, we're going to get gold by winning team fights. And that's what he's aiming to do. And he's been doing that, but that's their carry potential. It's a Razor, and it's a Queen of Pain. And Queen of Pain and him both have been playing fantastic, but you're playing up against Illidan Stormrage, one of the best farmers in all of Dota 2, and he's 7-1-10 on a very good hard carry that scales late game Gyrocopter. And you're up against a Bloodseeker, who's very farmed as well, now picked up his BKB, so he's no longer at a teamfight disadvantage there. Like, it's looking worse and worse, and great disables coming out of VP that scale late. Tram Protector ulti goes through BKB, so if he gets a Blink Dagger at some point, or he's able to position well, that's going to counteract any carry potential Newbee has. And Shadow Shaman has disables, and Tidehunter Ravage, that's a good spell scaling into late, even though BKBs counter it. It's just, it's looking, I like the synergy of VP a lot better in my opinion, and their carry potential is better.
Newbee, though, pull out a smoke, feeling like maybe their backs could be going against the wall sooner than later here. Look at them creep. They actually managed to make it pop, and Rabbit's going to be forced to pop out the Static Storm. Now, VP see this, and they might be like, maybe we don't engage, or do we? They're creeping on forward here, making it go into Rabbit. They'll see Banana. Do they go right for him? They get the BKB called out. Banana should be able to get in there with a grave. Saves Rabbit, even though he's more trapped. Look at the lead forward. Sandshake gets the finger off, and they quickly annihilate the Shadow Shaman. Ju getting caught up, though, with Illidan. Full Rocket Barrage onto him. It looks like they're going to be able to take out the Tusk. Not before he's able to get the Walrus Punch out. And also, Rabbit will eventually go down. Banana and Moo, lone survivors here as G charges on in, waits for his team. They pull back, they regroup. And maybe they go for a push here in the mid lane. Tier 1 set to drop. It's very low. Another fight that goes the way of Virtus Pro.
Yeah, I think Newbee originally backed off because that was not a good place to fight. Basically, VP has all the cover of those trees, and if they would have been running in, they would have funneled, and they also couldn't have ran south because of the cliff. So that was a much safer place for VP to fight, which is why they called for the back immediately. And I think that was the smart play, but again, the Sentry, they put down the Sentry, anticipating the tree on invis, but again, it was a moment too late, and it forced the Razor to be completely caught out of position. The Grave saved him and all, but his team just wasn't able to back them up very much, because I'm sure that G popped his BKB and ran after the other ones. So he's basically fulfilling his role entirely now. So it's just harder and harder for Newbee to take fights. Even though that Ravage was poor, it's just tough.
Wow, so Moo dances with them a bit with some illusions and actually forces Virtus Pro to second guess committing and going for this Roche. Little do they know, Newbee was not in really the best position to contest, but it's TI5 after all, and you know, you can't afford to take big risks, and when you already feel like you're in a very comfortable position, you're almost getting to that 10k net worth lead if you're Virtus Pro, you don't want to risk throwing it away. How many big throws have we already seen in TI5 so far? Through the wild card and already day one of group stage action. This is not the time to be handing these games over, because you never know. It could be that 1 point difference between being able to make it into a better seeded position for the main tournament or even not making it at all. So here comes Newbee now, still feeling like they need to get something done here when they're at deficit. Look at this move, comes right into a Hex! He doesn't pop his BKB! So Snowball rolls in there after, immediate Dazzle Weave, the call down there on top. Dazzle's gonna be the first to go down. Moo lands still alive, and he's able to get the kill!
Are you kidding?
He goes up to the high ground, Illidan chases him though, he got him. Double kill for Illidan. They go to the low ground here, Sanching will be cleaned up, a double kill for G, a double kill for Illidan, and now Rabbit to fall after. Who is going to get the Ultra Boys? No one! Rabbit makes it out. Slippery little bugger makes it back to base, but it's a big enough fight for Virtus Pro that now they feel comfortable going back and finishing off this Roche.
They didn't even have Ravage for that fight. It's coming off cooldown right now. I don't know how that went so well. Lil got initiated on. He almost got bursted down. That's a here you go on at Shadow Shaman, but he got his Hex off first on the initiating Quap that limited her damage by a lot. And then he just never died. He got down to a fraction, dropped his wards, popped his wand. I think his opponents just couldn't click on him or something, because there were so many heroes built up on one little piece of ground that he just stayed alive for far too long, and it forced them to overcommit. And at that point, everybody was low, and then it was just a cleanup. So they just have to get their kills off a little bit faster. Then Shadow Shaman was able to buy so much time in that fight that Newbee just got completely wrecked, and now their carry potential, you can really see it dying off.
Yeah.
If you can't kill support Shadow Shaman with a bracer, an urn, and a wand, you're gonna lose. It's that simple.
Got to give props to Lil. He got that sheep, that hex off so fast.
Yeah,
like a
that was so
gunslinger
fast.
there. Moo was just like went in and he figured like I might be able to get off a quick couple of burst nukes, then pop my BKB before I have to worry.
Yeah, you're right. He did BKB late then.
So he didn't get the BKB off. Oh, banana! Wrong place at the wrong time. Tries to come from behind. He's going to be going down. Overgrowth. They're going to be cleaning up the rest.
Oh, rush on Moo. He dies.
Oh, did he make it out? Oh,
no.
He does not. BKB blinked away and died thereafter. Tusk is going to go next.
God.
This is disaster now for Newbee. Virtus Pro have just clearly taken over.
Yeah.
This buffed up Gyrocopter even getting a bit of that Blood Rage love. It is just an assault right now from Virtus Pro.
I don't think they expected VP to be there. I think Banana was still out of position because he was going to put wards down. He was about to lose his one near Roche Pit, so I think he was off to drop wards. BKB on top, Rabbit will TP back. He's down to 6 seconds now. He's almost got an Ags, but what is an Ags going to do against Gyro when Gyro's almost got a butterfly, you know? Like, obviously it doesn't dodge the hits with the evasion, but he's like a full 1.5 items in terms of damage ahead of what Razor is, and he does just as much damage with his skills as Razor does.
I mean, it's a great build-up for taking towers, but you got to take the fights before he can even get past that and go to the towers thereafter. He's stuck on more defensive duty, trying to clean up some wards here. He's going to be losing his tier 2. Not too much effort. He does get a little bit of the pocket change from cleaning up the wards, but ultimately he will go down. He grabs it, and now they want to make the jump here for Sansheng, who gets sheeped up. Looks to turn back. Can he get anything?
Oh, there it is.
He got the finger off before he does get graved. Here comes a big Sonic Wave from Moo. Sweeps him from behind. They are able to get down Lil. They want FNG next. They get him. Double kill for Moo, but they've already lost 3, and they could lose him next. He's able to blink away, make it to the high ground, but Virtus Pro still holds strong. Their cores barely scratched and beaten from these fights. Clearly just kind of getting on the up and up. And look at this. Ooh, is this a double stack for me? A triple even? I'll take it.
That was a really good fight for Newbee, I think. I didn't think it was going to go nearly that well. As soon as they initiated G-Pop's BKB, Lion gets initiated on, but the Grave bought them some really good time there, and that pushed them into a really good spot. And now VP can really start abusing the next OP thing they have, which is Blood Rage with Flat Cannon. If he gets a good item, whether that's a Rapier or... I mean, he might buy a Rapier. He's got Aegis right now, but the next thing they buy, it's going to be a lot of damage. It's a Demon Edge.
I'm thinking MKB. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Rapier, it would tickle my fancy. Don't get me wrong, Purge.
I don't think they need to because they're pretty darn far ahead, but what does he buy? It's MKB. Playing it safe. He doesn't have to get Rapier. That could definitely throw the game, but I'm just thinking about Rapier Flat Cannon with 40% damage amp. Man, that's insane.
I mean, that's like you just want to go in there, get a fast team wipe that hits Newbee so hard, they're like, well, it's clear that we're not winning this game, so let's go to game 2.
But with that said, do you really need to super go damage? It's about Grave, and it's about positioning, and Newbee isn't clumped that much. It's a very, very segmented fights. I think that's definitely the overly dangerous kind of game to do it in.
Well, here comes Virtus Pro charging in from the north. They're tasting victory here in game number 1, and only a couple little outer towers separate them from being able to ascend into the glorious high ground of Newbee. Newbee, they know they're going to be losing these outer towers. Their objective is to split push. They're relieving pressure from their mid lane and just farm up as much as possible so they can itemize appropriately for this high ground defense. And they can jump onto June. June's going to be forced to step back, and wards are also committed for this. Blood Right will keep them at bay.
Oh my god.
And Illidan's just going to start chunking down this tier 3, really with no threat.
Each Flat Cannon was doing 200 to Razor here. Just from him being vaguely in the area. They have another Flat Cannon, 16 seconds range. Barracks is going to fall down. G actually going on mid. He ruptured on Sansheng. There's the Grave. It's on cooldown for about 15 seconds here, but that's going to be it for the Rax, I think.
Yeah, they're splitting them apart here, and Rabbit stuck in the middle now. Gets sheeped up. Steps back quick. BKB. Rax are down. Virtus Pro are going to be happy with their winnings, and they are just going to say, see ya later. We've done the first significant base damage. Newbee, it's on them to respond, and I don't know if their response is going to be great enough here. We'll have to see.
They did that very well. They're going to lose the Aegis most likely. It'll time out, but they had it there for the chance. It was a simple Blood Rage hit buildings kind of a thing, and they didn't lose anybody, and they get the Rax complete victory there.
Now, what do you think it is? Is it a Virtus Pro play style that maybe just seems to be throwing Newbee off, being so aggressive, so team fight, and just going for blood. And Newbee just kind of, I don't want to say falling back into old habits, but hey, they got a Razor, they did their mech, they moved as a group, they try to take objectives. It does feel pretty reminiscent to TI4 kind of play. Does Virtus Pro have the answer for that, or is it just they seem to be the better team at this point?
I think, honestly, what lost them this game, I mean, not that the game is over, but they're in a big disadvantage right now, is that they just, a couple team fights went poorly for them. If you go for an early game lineup and you don't win those first few team fights, it puts you in a terrible spot, and that's exactly what happened. Oh, he's going to die to Rupture? Yeah, he's going to get killed. He knew they were coming for him, so that was pretty much a guaranteed kill. He had a TP there, and I don't think he had one, yeah. So, like, think of those two fights. It was a Invis tied into a Ravage. Two fights completely won by VP that they shouldn't have won due to the Invis. And that's literally the only reason that Newbee didn't stomp this game, in my opinion. They had that big advantage when Bloodseeker had S and Y, and Gyro had S and Y, but they kept winning fights. They won two fights that they shouldn't have, and that's why VP is stomping now.
Credit to FNG, maybe the lack of experience scrimming against the trap.
Oh, great stuff!
Oh, they lead in, big Sonic wave, but Newbee get caught in a rut right here, and they're going to just get ripped apart. Big call down, Overgrowth, Phobos with a huge Ravage, and now Moo locked in the corner. They have had enough. Your TI4 champions going to be losing their debut matchup here against Virtus Pro. Now, it is a best of two, and they will have a chance to try to even this series up 1-1 and at least walk away with 1 point. But with a stellar start, Virtus Pro showing no mercy here, Purge. This is the Virtus Pro we have come to see throughout the Dota season, and they have definitely come to TI5 with their A game.
I wonder if the enemy team is just like, how do they not build BKBs? Because, I mean, Chinese teams, most of the time, they just absolutely